The cry of Matt Hancock, well, I'm only human, is not enough to offset the damage that he did. And similarly, J.K. Rowling has come back again to this issue of transgender, but also to this issue of control. And she has talked about the bumbling incompetence and illiberal authoritarianism of the Scottish government and the new hate crime law. I think J.K. Rowling's attitudes are a subject of interesting debate, but predicated on a certain amount of intolerance and unkindness, which I find frankly surprising from the person who penned so much of the Harry Potter stuff. But nevertheless, the failure of this law to be effective, and in the first few days of its practice, since it became law, it's clearly manifested as something which is unwieldy. The police have had to produce guidelines to ignore a lot of the complaints, and at the same time, the the complaints about Humza himself have to be ignored. She says most of Scotland is upset and offended by Yusuf's bumbling incompetence and illiberal authoritarianism, but we aren't lobbying to have him locked up. Well, yes, because he is an elected politician. I'm sure there are plenty of people who will be lobbying to replace him with somebody else when the election comes round. Maybe it can't come round soon enough. But when we don't know if something is criminal or not criminal, when people are saying, well, we shouldn't treat Rowling's comments as criminal, it shows that the law which has been put forward, which is now law in Scotland, is incompetent, is a bad law. It goes down with a number of other laws which come out from Westminster, for example, like the fox hunting law, based on ideological interests rather than sound legal judgment. And what is the law for? Is the law to encourage us to be better, or is the law to stop us being worse? I think it's the latter. I think what encourages us to be better is education. What stops us being worse is the law. And when the law crosses that divide and tries to make us better, then it doesn't work. And the laws which penalize people in the hope that other people are going to get better off, like, for example, the plans about Labour's education plans, it won't work. By punishing one group, you don't make another group better. What you have to do is to bring everybody up. What you have to do is to educate and empower rather than disenfranchise, rather than punish, and hope that will be an example. You don't make people better by criminalizing, punishing, rebuking others. You make people better by education. And so people can complain and complain and complain. Can the police then arrest anybody? And will those arrests stick? So remarks which are made in private, how can they be prosecuted? Where is the evidence on which a prosecution can be lodged? And if you can't prosecute in practice, then the law is a bad law, no matter how well intentioned. And that is the problem, significantly, with the Fox Hunting Act. I think now with drone technology, the Fox Hunting Act may finally be coming into its own age where prosecutions could possibly be made. Because now you can follow that hunt without being on it, if you've got drones that can suitably be programmed to follow the hunt, and then get the evidence that the hunt is not going after some sort of scent, some sort of man-made scent, but instead is deliberately chasing foxes and hounding, literally, foxes. I find the fox hunting legislation anyway to be a little bit rich when Parliament still uses the language of fox hunting in its own business and talks about whips. The whips are the whippers in, which is a fox hunting concept about controlling the hounds. And so to still use fox hunting imagery in Parliament while there's a law which is designed to restrict and constrict fox hunting is in the business of nonsense.